So we know in championship games, in the postseason, there are always X factors, and there's certainly some today. Speaking of locations, the Denver region, Michigan, Wisconsin, and VCU all going to be playing games in Denver after wrapping up their conference tournaments on Sunday. So each of them will also be playing teams from the West Coast, UC San Diego, Montana, and BYU, who plays at elevation all the time. We know Denver has altitude as a factor that can make players a little bit more tired. If you already have tired legs, this can exacerbate that. So, Jenks, does this go into the handicap as an X factor for you?
Oh, absolutely. Any sort of edge, if you like a team, or even if you don't, but if you're putting down the different factors in a game, any sort of edge that goes one way or another is something that should be a factor. And altitude is a factor. It's one thing if you're maybe the NBA is a little bit different because maybe you're rolling into Denver or Salt Lake on a regular basis, right? Like you're accustomed to going into mountainous areas. And so you kind of know what that feels like. But if you're a team like VCU, for example, you're in Richmond, Virginia, like when are you experiencing altitude? Never. You play in the A10. So that's another reason why I like BYU today. I mean, I like the metrics when it comes to the Cougars. They've been very good down the stretch. They have one loss in their last 12 games, which was to Houston. But outside of that, they're not going to have to go very far. So the travel is not going to affect them as much. And the altitude won't affect them as much. So I absolutely think it's not the only factor, but it certainly is a factor if you're looking at independent matchups.